Well, good afternoon, Wichita. I am City Council Member Bryan Frye, and welcome to the daily COVID-19 update. Today is May 7th, and with me today is Park and Recreation Director Troy Houtman. Good to see you, Troy.
Good afternoon. How you doing?
I'm fantastic. Dealing with a little bit of weather today, but so obviously with Troy here, today we're going to talk about parks, and which is something that's always near and dear to me. I served on the park board for 8 years prior to being on council, and so I've got a pretty good passion for our park system and like to stay involved. And we're getting a lot of questions right now about our parks, our playgrounds, our dog parks, everything. So we thought, let's get Troy down here and answer some of those questions. And right now we are seeing a lot of people in our parks. Most are walking and jogging because everything has been closed. But we're going to make some changes because the stay-at-home order has ended, and as the weather gets nicer, people are going to be out and about. And so maybe you can talk about what we're going to be seeing here in the next few days.
So most definitely. I really appreciate you having me here today. This COVID-19 has just thrown us for a loop. It's just been the most horrible thing in regards to Parks and Recreation that I've ever experienced. Some of our staff's been furloughed. A lot of our facilities have been closed. The whole thing about Parks and Recreation is to bring people together. And we have been doing a great job of putting out new programs, doing a lot of new special events, doing some really fun things. And in a moment, just like that, everything has just crashed. And we've had to scramble and come up with new ways to entertain and find recreation for our community. So we've been doing some things online, and it's been really kind of cool. We actually had a fishing tournament online.
I saw that, yeah.
It was a lot of fun. It was really kind of cool. So our guys are being creative. One of the things that happened at the beginning of this, we actually laid off some of our staff, and we had a skeleton crew just to take care of our parks, but we quickly saw that our parks were being used. And how I could tell was because they're leaving all their trash behind.
Yes, I've noticed that as well, and I've seen some emails from folks saying, we're in the parks and we want to be outside, but we're seeing trash, and I know you guys are having to get after it and make sure that those are emptied more often because nobody likes seeing it. But you got to remember, if you're going to bring stuff into the park, take it out with you.
That's one of the suggestions. And we have brought back all of our furloughed staff. All of them that are capable of working are back. And so we are quickly catching up on things, all of our mowing, all of our maintenance, all of our trash pickups, just trying to take care of our parks. But there's still going to be some things that are going to be closed from the governor's windows of phases. And we're still going to have the playgrounds closed for about another month.
Okay.
And we're going to be looking at opening up the dog parks in a couple weeks. So those are some of the things that will be changing as we go through the phases of the governor's phases.
So that's all part of phase one.
Correct.
The things that you've talked about immediately, the dog parks opening back up, and what else can we expect to see in phase one? What are some other things that are going to be open and available?
So I think we're going to have more opportunities for our fitness classes outdoors. We're going to be actually trying to do some programming outdoors. So we're going to see how that's going to work out. We're in a big state of flux because we're trying to also get ready for summertime. The spring just blew up on us.
Well, we've had a good spring. The weather has been nice and reasonable, and kids out of school because they're not in the classroom. They're stay-at-home schooling right now. And so there's more opportunity to get out and about, and people are antsy. They want to get active, and they're looking for recreation.
So my point being was our recreation centers were closed.
Right.
And so all of our spring programming just dissipated. We pretty much canceled everything. But what we're doing right now is we're quickly gearing up for summer, looking at what we can do in regards to recovering, seeing what the stipulations are going to be and what are the standards for us to operate. So we're trying to put those plans in place, and we're going to have some things finalized next week. And we're looking to hopefully put a big push out of all the things that we're going to be expecting to do this coming summer.
Yeah, and it's been tough trying to figure out what is allowed in phase one, phase two, based on the governor's orders. And it's a struggle, I know, trying to stay ahead of it all and trying to keep up with it because the demand is there. So what kind of things have we been doing with our public park facilities? I know we've created some additional cleaning things and so forth. Is that right?
So we're going to be adding some extra cleaning crews. So hopefully when the playgrounds get the green light to open up the playgrounds, we'll spend some more time cleaning down the playgrounds, cleaning down some of the fitness equipment that's out in the parks. And some of the things we want to do is promote spending time in the river. By this time, the water is getting nicer, and we can put our kayaks and canoes out in the river. And one of our big places to really spend some time is that we're at O.J. Watson. So we're slowly starting to pull back some of those restrictions so we can have more activity in that park in particular.
Now, along those lines, our public facilities, bathroom facilities at our parks, they're still closed right now.
Yes, that is correct. And we're looking at hopefully getting those back open mid-June as we go through the gates and steps of the phases.
And again, we're doing that for public safety, so plan ahead. Before you go out to the park, use the restroom facilities so that when you get there, you're going to find they're closed. So.
We're trying to keep everything updated on our website and on our Facebook pages. And so as we start reducing some of these restrictions, we want to make sure we get that onto our website. And that's a great place for information, and we try to keep that up to date as much as possible.
You mentioned O.J. Watson Park. What kind of things are open there right now? There's a lot of different activities in that park. What kind of things are open, and what can we see opening there in the near future?
So we got the kayaks and canoes there. We have the paddle boats. Those are definitely available.
Okay, good.
And they're a lot of fun.
Yep. So mini golf open
The mini
there?
golf is open.
Okay, but not the pony rides yet.
Not the pony rides.
Okay.
And the train will be the last thing that opens up.
Oh, okay.
Simply because
gotta-
there's so many gathered there.
Right, and you got to clean it. It takes a lot. There's a lot of seats and
That's right.
places to touch on that train.
Yep.
So it's a great train. So, anything else you want to add before we get to questions, or do we want to get right to questions? I see Megan's there, and she probably has a few for us. Maybe we can just jump into questions. Hey, Megan.
I do. Hi. Our first question is from Amy. When will the city's pools and splash pads open, and how are we planning on keeping guests safe?
So a decision hasn't been made yet. That's one of the things that we're working on this week. We've been spending a lot of time researching, talking to all these professionals across the country about how to do this, what are the best practices. So we're spending a lot of time looking at those scenarios. I don't have a plan in place yet to roll out. So again, that's one of those things that we're working on for next week to see if we can roll that out. But I cannot give you a definite answer to that yet.
Now, prior to this, we had a plan to have some of the pools closed anyway because of construction. And
correct.
those pools were, if you help me out, remember.
McAdams was going to get renovated, Ailey, and
Orchard?
not Orchard this one, but I think maybe it is Orchard, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, those
So
three.
we were planning on having some of those pools closed anyway.
That's correct.
And so this hopefully will allow us maybe to speed up some of the construction on those. But again, you're still working on that plan. We want to make sure that the pools are open safely.
Right.
And it's just not the pool, it's also the bathroom facilities and the changing rooms. That has to be considered as well, so.
Yeah, there's so many touch points, and the whole idea about social distancing, how do you manage that in a swimming pool? How do you keep kids from jumping on each other? How do we make sure our staff is safe as
Sure.
well? Because we have a lot of younger staff in there. So those are all the things that we have to put together in a plan. The question about the splash pads, and this comes from a lot of the experts across the country, is a lot of folks are not even going to be opening up their splash pads this summer. So what we're going to be doing, when we find the opportunity, when we go through these phases, if we get to phase 4, which allows for gathering spaces, we will be opening up the splash pads then. So again, it all depends on squashing the curve, looking at all the statistics, all that information as we go through these gates of the phases that the governor has put in place. But as soon as we get to that, and I can't look at my crystal ball and know when that's
Right.
going to happen, but once it does, we will open up the splash pads.
Right, and again, the challenge we have with our splash pads is so many of them are unstaffed, and there's no way to police who's there and how many people there at one time.
Right.
And so it's really hard to keep an eye on that and making sure you're staying within the governor's orders. So doing it at the proper time when it's allowed and based on some of the best practices makes sense.
Yeah. I've been spending a lot of time on Zoom meetings.
Haven't we all?
on Facebook Live.
Yep.
I've been involved with the Mayor's Council. It's a national council where I sat down and talked to a bunch of different mayors from across the country, talking to CDC experts. We have been researching this and staying on top of everything, so we know that we're doing the best practices. And a lot of the things that come out are just guidelines, and we ultimately have to make the best decision what's best for our community, and so we try to fit that into the right plan.
Sure. Megan, do we have another question?
We have several. Anne wants to know what the plan is for our summer camps. We call it Summer for Discovery. Do we have a definitive plan on how we're going to hold that this year?
So summer camp, summer
Right.
discovery.
So another thing that we've been taking a lot of temperature across the city, who's going to be offering camps, how are they going to be offering those camps? And again, a lot of these things are coming through CDC recommendations, recommendations through the National Park and Rec Association, a lot of experts. More than anything else, we're probably going to try our best to have camps, but they're going to be reduced. So we're probably going to have a smaller amount of ratio of instructors to children. One of the big things that we know is going to happen, it's going to be unfortunate because our camps are so well known for our field trips.
Right.
We are probably not going to have any field trips at all. So a lot of this is going to have to be programming right there at the building, working with our staff and training our staff. And so, again, we are putting everything we can, all of our efforts to offer some camps. And again, it's the dates, we never know what those dates
Yeah.
are going to be, but
No earlier than until phase 3.
right. And so probably mid-June, maybe even July. And so it'll be a shorter season of camps and a smaller amount of campers.
Is any of the registration online right now?
Yes, we actually have been taking registrations and holding those spaces in case we do offer the camps.
Okay. So you can find that by going to wichita.gov/park and rec.
Yep.
I believe that's the right URL. Okay. So next question.
Perfect. Are people still able to fish, and what are some the parks that they can fish at?
So you most definitely can still fish. O.J. Watson is a fishing location along the river, the Arkansas River. There's definitely spots there as well. We have, for lack of a creative name, we have K47 Lake.
That's down south.
It's out east.
K47?
Yep.
I've never heard it called that. Is that the northeast, right along K96 by the Humane
I'm sorry,
Society?
K96, not
Yeah, okay.
K96.
Okay.
Yes.
You're not the local. You've been here 8 years. You should know this.
I've been here 5.5
Five and a
years.
half years. Okay.
Yes,
Well,
yes.
now you get to
Yes.
me. So, yeah, K96 Lake.
That's right, K96 Lake. And so, yeah, those places are available for fishing. And we've noticed a lot of folks are still going out there fishing and enjoying the river. I was out there today over by the tennis center, and that's a great place because that's where the confluence comes together with both of the rivers, and there's folks out there fishing on that, having a great time.
Yeah, in my district, I have Little Nell's Fishing Pond
Ah, that's right.
behind the Dillons at Central and Mays. And there's a sign there that states Little Nell's Fishing Pond. And so that's a good little spot too. So, okay, good. Megan, we still have questions, I'm assuming.
Yes. Troy, could you talk a little bit about our new Esports League? How do you get involved? What is it? Give us an overview.
So this came as an opportunity that just dropped in our laps. Excuse me one second. So as we're looking at trying to do some programming and get some things done, we had some folks that were interested in this. So some of my staff grabbed it and ran with it. I don't know a whole lot about it, to be honest. I really can't tell you a whole bunch more about it other than, again, if you want to find the information, check out our Facebook page as well as our website. There's all the connections there and links to get to where you need to get to and to sign up for the league.
So is this a partnership with someone that's already doing it, and they just asked us to share it or to participate?
So it's a platform that we get to use.
Okay, cool.
So it actually ends up being us to manage and operate. So we can do local leagues here. It's all about the Wichitans.
Fantastic.
What we do here. But it's somebody else's platform that we get to use. And there's sports programs on there, and I think there's some fitness programs in there as well. So
Great opportunity.
I need to check it out a little bit more. But
Yeah. That's a great opportunity, again, for that virtual resource, that if you don't want to get out, this is a way you can still be active and have some entertainment.
Yep.
So, okay, very cool.
We need a virtual hairdresser so I could get a haircut because my hair's getting a little shaggy.
Aren't we all? Yes. So, all right, Megan.
All right. When will the parks begin taking reservations again for park rentals?
So we've been holding off on taking those reservations because we just did not know. But I got a feeling that next week we're going to be able to start taking those reservations and filling in reservations for our shelters and other activities in the parks. So I would check in next week because I'm anticipating that we'll be able to start filling in those reservations.
Right, because summertime is always good for reunions and family picnics, and those shelters are nice to have.
Yes.
Being able to reserve them and start using them is important.
So it all fits in with the governor's plan in regards to max capacity. So 30 or less in phase 2, and then it gets a little bit larger in phase 3.
Right.
So we just need to be able to program that in there with individual calls. And so as you're planning your outings, you just need to know exactly how many people you're going to have.
Sure. And this is all going to be available on our website as we make those announcements and those dates and things. So
Correct.
we're going to continue to push that as much as possible. All right, any more questions?
Yes. This isn't specifically related to COVID, but is bow fishing allowed within city limits?
Is boat fishing allowed
Bow
in this?
fishing.
Bow fishing.
Right.
Actually, it is not. We spent some time going over with the law department. I remember this one very vividly because we had that conversation about 3 years ago, and it is not allowed. It's just one of those concerns I think that we have in regards to
Sure.
that type of hunting in the city limits.
Right. So yeah, no bow fishing allowed within the city limits.
Wonderful. I think that's all the questions we have for today.
That's it? Okay. Well, I appreciate all the questions today. Anything else you want to add? I know we had a quick update on golf. We've made a golf cart cert move. I want to talk about that real quick. We haven't touched on golf at all,
Sure.
but that's something that we've gotten a lot of questions about. So
Yes. So we're looking at slowly lifting all those restrictions, and that's something, again, that was just all based on safety and making sure that we follow these guidelines. So starting next week, we'll be, let's see, is it next week? The following week, we're going to be starting allowing the golf carts to be used.
Okay.
It could be one person at a time
Good.
in each one of the golf carts. And I think we're looking at some dates in early June to opening up all 4 golf
the
courses.
other 2 courses. Because
Yes.
right now we have Auburn Hills and McDonald open.
Yes.
And the plan would be to add Sim and Tex Consolver later. So
And we are going to be opening up the driving range
good.
at Auburn Hills starting Monday.
Oh, fantastic. So that's and again, there'll probably be social distancing there on the driving range. Make
We
sure
had-
you keep your distance.
We had to set up the stalls, and what happens
Okay.
is you go to the clubhouse and you get your balls, but you also get a slot number.
So you know which one to go to.
If you're in corral number 1, number 2, number 3.
Got it.
So you go over there, and when you're done, you bring your number back so the next person can use it.
Okay, well,
So-
that's good. That's just another recreational opportunity that people can get out and do.
Yep, we just had to put new processes in place, and that's what we're doing, is we're being flexible and adjusting to the situation.
Right. Since we're on the topic of golf ranges, is the McDonald golf range close to being finished,
So it's done.
but not open yet?
It's not open yet, but I do believe that's going to be another one that we're going to be looking at operating at the end of the month or right
Okay.
at the beginning of June.
Because that will be brand new for the golfing community, another asset
Yes.
that they can utilize. So
Yep,
looking
on-
forward to that.
Yep,
So
on the east side.
So before we wrap up, is there anything else you want to add?
You know, like I mentioned at the beginning of the conversation was, a lot of things that we do in Parks and Recreation took a big, huge halt as this happened, and it's been a big jolt for us. But staff is going to be coming back as we are bringing the furloughs back and the restrictions are being lifted. But one thing we did find out is people really love our parks, and they know how important it is. You know, we talk about police and fire being essential. You know, I would almost consider our parks being essential for our health and wellness and our mental well-being. Our parks were full, and as I took a drive later on this afternoon, even though it was cloudy and sprinkly, people were walking the trails, people are out there spending time in the parks. I've seen so many picnics, people taking their kids out there. So I want to make sure everybody remembers how important our parks are, even when this kind of passes. But the other thing I'm really proud of is the staff and how well they've reacted on maintaining the parks as best as they can with the limited resources that we have. So.
Yeah, you're exactly right. This COVID has opened up a lot of eyes to our park system because folks that have never been in our parks before are now enjoying them, and that's great. We're bringing new eyeballs, new people to the parks, and they can see them and enjoy them. And hopefully, as we get out of this, we'll have that continued use of our park and recreation system, and people will realize how important it is to the quality of life in our community. We just remind people to continue to pick up after yourself, take your trash with you if you can, and keep social distancing, wear your mask when you're out in public. This one's mine, and it's obviously Wichita flag one. Of course, you know me, I wouldn't be without a Wichita flag mask. So, but continue to practice social distancing, wash your hands, and continue to tune in to these updates. We've covered a variety of topics, and we'll continue to provide these. I know all council members are doing them, and we're bringing staff in with these, and they've been a lot of fun for us to do, and hopefully they're good information for you. And thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.